Welcome back. You're still watching Nile Cruise, and moving on now to another topic. And the Arab Water Council's vision for integrated water resources management in the Arab region is to maximize the economic, social, and environmental benefits from water use in the Arab countries. That's why the Arab Water Council, in cooperation with the FAO, issued a guide for the uses of untraditional waters, such as semi-salty water in North Africa and the Middle East, to face the scarcity of water resources available in the region. To be speaking about this topic and more about the water resources and management, we joined with Dr. Atif Hamdi, Professor of Water Resources in the Mediterranean Agronomic Institute of Bari in Italy. I'd like to thank you very much for joining us.
You're welcome, my dear friend. Welcome.
Welcome, Dr. Atif. Let me first start off with a question. If you can tell us a little bit about the conference that was organized by the Arab Water Council and the FAO, and what were the objectives of the conference?
Yes, really, I have been participated in the conference as international consultant for the Arab Water Council and the FAO for developing a guideline for the use of saline water irrigation. In fact, it have been prepared a draft for a guideline for the use of the saline water irrigation in all the Arab countries. And these have been under discussion for about 2 days, continuous. We have about, say, 12 hours full discussions to add some modification for what have been presented for it. And really, I am proud to tell you that it's the first time in the Arab world that they have a guideline to be implemented. What does the object of this guideline? This guideline will lead the Arab countries to put a strategy where it could be easily implemented, or technically easily implemented, the use of saline water irrigation, number one. It should be economically visible, its use. Number three, it should be non-degraded for the environment. In fact, the guideline, it is a general one, but I have made stressed in my discussion with them that now the focal points and the national countries should work very hard to start putting national guidelines. Therefore, the next step of the program would be testing the guidelines through experimental trials, which would be carried in most of the Arab countries to see what is the point weak, what is the point strong, what is the modification could be done for the future, and this will take about, say, in the future, maybe the guideline could be changed after 4 or 5 years according to the climatic changes in the region because
yes, there's a lot of aspects.
Yes, because in fact the climatic changes, also the socio-economic aspect, and the most important point also the degree of education of the farmer, who will use this water for irrigation.
Yes.
Farmer, who will use this water for irrigation.
Yes, and I like this fact, of leveraging the salty water and how you can use it, because there is a lot of uses for that. Because you're a consultant on that, if you can tell us a little bit more on how we can leverage that.
Yes, what I wanted to say really, that if I look to the case of Egypt, we have as fresh water 55 billion cubic meter per year. This was in the 50s and 60s, when Egypt was about 50 million only. Now we are about 90 million. So the amount of water per person have dropped about 50%. In the year 2050, we are expecting that Egypt will be under chronic water stress. There will be deficit water in Egypt. Therefore, what we are trying to do, I think there is 2 approaches the country is using nowadays. The first one is that how to increase the supply to respond to the increasing demand. And this thanks for the President of Egypt, which is making very major efforts to increase that no one can touch the share of Egypt from the Nile, and to increase the Nile, the amount of the water from Egypt from the Nile, and on the other hand also the very effective diplomatic policy, which is now with other
being implemented at the moment
with the basin countries,
yes,
and also the technical approaches which is done now by the Minister of Water Resources and Irrigation. And this could lead through a very fruitful cooperation, and we hope, and that is on the longer term, that we can increase our part of the water. If we come to the shorter term, I think that we have a problem which we did not succeed to solve.
Which is?
We are in need to what? We are in need to water security, food security, and environmental sustainability. If I look to this complex triangle, we find that in its heart, in the center, irrigated agriculture. You can ask me why. I tell you, because irrigated agriculture in Egypt, the amount of water allocated is about 80 to 90% of our resources for agriculture. And on the farm water management, it is only 40%. This means you have 60% water losses. Then on the basin, it could be raised up to 70% if you are using the drainage water. We have 16 million cubic meter drainage water. Drainage water, its salinity is about 2 grams per liter and could be used for irrigation without no very safely. But the problem of the drainage water nowadays, it is polluted with the municipal wastewater and with the wastewater coming from the industry.
Well, in that case, maybe, Doctor, in the conference, have they come up with new irrigation ideas or something in the conference that would advocate new techniques for irrigation, maybe?
What we have arrived to in it, that we have to, first of all, the first important by it, we have to put a very correct irrigation scheduling. What this means? This means that when we have to irrigate, and what is the volume of irrigation we have to apply. That is very important, because if I have drainage water, 16 million cubic meter, this means that we are over irrigating. And this with what? With fresh water. But if I am using low water quality saline water, it will be disaster if I don't have a very correct, and this need new technologies to calculate the irrigation schedule. That's number one. Number two, we have also to look to the varieties. We have now, biotechnology is very important in this case. We have to look for new varieties which is highly tolerant for the salinity to be used. The third, as I told you that, and I said also in the conference, we have the software, we have the hardware, we have the computer, we have the model. What is lacking in Egypt and the Arab?
Execution.
The humanware. The humanware is lacking. We need the human. We need to train the people. Because the use of the non-conventional water resources.
That was exactly the topic that we were discussing just the previous segment. We're speaking about the lack of resources, the lack of skills in certain areas.
Yeah, and that is what is lacking in our area, really, the human resources. We need updated human.
The training for the right jobs to be
Yes,
able to.
they should be under complete training. Also, the institutions should be changed completely. You have to create institutions which is dealing with the non-conventional water resources. I give you another example. Besides the saline water, if you look at the treated wastewater, in fact, it is saline water and having some microorganisms, some microbes inside it. This type of the water, first of all, it is annually increasing year by year. It is a permanent source, very rich in the fertilizers, in the nutrients, so we can save energy, we can save also the fertilizers if we are using it. And the most important point, it is the only source which is not affected by climatic changes. If there is rain, there is no rain, the wastewater, the municipal wastewater is annually increasing. So we have a permanent source. And that's a very
This is what's used in Europe, for
it
example.
is used
they
in
have
Europe.
a very good model for that.
I have worked on this topic with the urban community for about 10 projects on the sustainable use and safely use of the treated wastewater, and that is the subject of the future.
Can you tell us an example, because you've been working and lecturing in Italy for 40 years, so can you tell us an example about a project that you have witnessed personally in that,
example,
a model that we can leverage?
Maybe we can follow.
We have here, we have made a project about the sustainable use of treated wastewater using wetland techniques. Wetland techniques, it is a very simple system, and it is very valid for what? For the villages. Because the problem now in Egypt, as I have visited that we have started introducing the fresh water in the villages, and that is very good, not bad. In the meantime, we forget about the municipal wastewater.
Which is huge.
Yes, we have forget about it. So what is happening? The water table is the consumption of the people of the water start to increase. The water table start increasing, and you find that if you go to some villages, they are living in mud. So this system is a very easy one. It is type of gravel. You can put in it some.
What is happening today in Egypt?
In our
and what should be happening?
Egypt, I was also with the environment people. I was with them before I come here, and they told me that now they have arrived to a conclusion. They can treat now forests and make in the desert by irrigating, but there is no courage now to use it in the irrigation.
But it's not happening today.
That's what is happening. See, now they are using this water now in irrigation of some trees or something like this.
Okay.
But to be used for irrigation, till now, it had not been approved till now. The people are not have confidence to use it.
Yes, because frankly speaking, doctor, this is what is the reality is. It has to pass through processes of purifying this water.
Yes.
So it ends up with not a high quality water, but it's needed with the minerals, with everything that it contains. But what is happening in Egypt, that the waterways are coming even with a smell. So people would not appreciate this in agriculture.
You find that in really, if I am responsible, I have to give this treated wastewater free of charge completely.
Of course.
Free of charge completely, and this will give, especially in the new reclaimed areas, and this will lead to what a competition between the fresh water and the drainage water, so that the people.
Very wise.
The thing which I feel is still lacking in Egypt, awareness. We have very little awareness about our water resources and how to save our water resources. On the international level, the World Water Day, it is almost every year in March. I need a national day for the water in Egypt. And in all mosques, the people who speak on Friday speak about the water. The people are happy because they don't feel the problem, because when they return back, he opens the tap, he finds water. But there will come a day, he will open the tap, will not find the water.
Oh, believe me, doctor, we have witnessed that for a couple of years, even in the best parts of Egypt. So it is happening today.
We need
I don't think we should be waiting, because it is happening.
We need awareness. We need awareness, starting from decision makers and all the stakeholders.
What's hindering us, doctor, from the awareness? What are we missing?
So
we should have known that before. Why are we doing it?
You find that, for example, the TV have a very good, important role. If he make 5 days or 10 days, 10 minutes, giving awareness of the people about the importance of the saving water. It is a win-win game, And if you tell him what is expected for the future, for your generation, for your...
Then it might sort of make them more aware and save water.
The radio should be programmed,
so
and the
media. One of the main tools.
Some very small pamphlets written by a language where the farmer can understand it. We understand our language as scientific people, but for the farmer, we need to be written for them this information with a very simple language that they could understand. The most important point also which we are lacking, the technical assistance in the irrigation sector. We have to have a very good technical assistance in it. The people feeling that irrigation is you have a tube and you are giving some water. That's not true nowadays. Now irrigation is agronomic aspects, economic aspects, environmental aspects, and the marketing in the meantime. So we need the people. There is very good project, very well designed. They started by a very good way. The average time for this project, minimum 50 years. And you find after 10 years, broke down the project. Why? We don't have the manager. What we are losing, what we are lacking, the manager of the project, who understand in agronomic, economic, environmental, and the marketing. If you have this, there will be very good success. And this, I think, this should be the policy. of in universities nowadays. They have to change the way of teaching the people to create the non-conventional research should be a part in the studies, how to create this new manager for the new. We have a lot of we are speaking about 1 million hectares to be reclaimed.
Yes.
How we shall deal with this 1 million hectares if we don't have the managers?
While agriculture today is facing water scarcity, so this is like
it is nowadays.
If we're going to have dreams, we should have, you know, the resources to do this.
That is the point which I am saying, that if you are using the non-conventional water resources, in my opinion, it is a win-win game. Why? First of all, you are saving the fresh water.
Dr. Atif, we're very sorry, we're really running out of time, but we'll definitely have to discuss this in more detail. We'd like to thank you so much, Dr. Atif Hamdi, Professor of Water Resources in Mediterranean Economic Institute of Bari, Italy. Thank you so much. And we're going to be moving to our next report, where we have the painter Aila Riyad launched her new exhibition entitled Women Since the 70s at the Wenley Brothers Hall in Alexandria.